Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks all about all my cars and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles, the dogs, the kid, life. Hey, here's an Ice Age TV sticker for anybody who wants one. Ice Age TV comments at gmail.com if you want to keep the internal combustion engine active, let others know that you support that. Then you got to get a sticker. Wow, hey, it's changed. Good morning there for all those that subscribe to my channel and those that may just be first time watching it. Appreciate you tuning in to listen to me gab away in the morning on my Monday through Friday conversations every Monday through Friday. I try to do about a 30 to 40 minute, yeah, it gets a little long sometimes, doesn't it? Conversation just to share my adventures in life and just ideas and views, and maybe some here can relate and feel like we're on the same page and talking to each other. And I appreciate all the nice comments. And wow, I just don't quit buying cars, do I? If you really watch my channel, what is my number one challenge in my life? Is me quitting buying things. I don't disagree. That's been a challenge my whole life. This is nothing new that happened to this YouTube channel. That's the reason I have a YouTube channel, because people I know were like, you should just share your antics of what you do in your life of just always going out and buying things. Specifically cars, trucks, SUVs, motorcycles. It's just a list of the toys that just never go away. And I thought to myself, this morning's conversation could be the quitting conversation. I thought that would be very appropriate, because yesterday I had the stolen conversation, and we're witnessing so many things are being stolen around us. And as usual, got to get the dogs in the office and get the morning going here, as I'm the bachelor, as the wife and kid are in Tennessee enjoying probably nicer weather than we have today as they get ready for the Thanksgiving festivities. And if you looked at my colors this morning, fall Thanksgiving colors. Got my F-250 hat on, the Super Duty truck. And yeah, I'm trying to play the theme of fall Thanksgiving that is just 2 days away. And the craziness of those that are going to get on the road and start driving to see their relatives, flying, whatever it may be. And as always, let's get the lights on, light, camera, action. And let's talk about how I can use the word quitting today and get that theme that goes hand in hand with the things we love so much. Hey, look here, I got a new sticker. I think it looks pretty good. I think that sticker kind of flows. I drove this car yesterday. This thing is so fun. It is so fast. It is so much fun. I just can't emphasize enough how nice this car is. And I get a lot of attention. I love this car. I would end up parting with those others if I had to keep this. This is so much fun. I mean, the Charger Red Eye over there is fun too. So, yeah, so how do we take the quitting conversations? My little traps aren't working. The little freaking mouse is so small, he's getting the cheese out of that thing, and it's not activating itself. So, and he's living over there because these other ones, oh no, he's good. He is a magician. I get all these different traps out here, and he's got in every one of them. Ha! Yeah, the Houdini mouse is in my shop. I don't like that, but he's living well. He got a lot of cheese. Yeah, would you quit doing that? Would you quit laying poop and eat the freaking cheese and get caught for me so I can get rid of you? All right, so how do we talk about quitting what resonates to a car, right? I mean, sincerely. Well, I think everybody here can obviously know where that goes. I'll say, well, hey, Dodge is going to quit making these. How many times have I talked that conversation, right? It's like, oh my God, you're going to talk about that conversation again? Right, yeah. So Dodge is quitting to make the cars sitting in my garage, the Dodge Charger and Challenger. As I speak, we're coming down probably the last 30 days, probably. I don't know when the Brambleton plant actually closes for the year. Do they take the holidays? It's like it's the second week of December. Is it over for the Dodge product? But also, Dodge in so many ways is quitting the V8 motor, the Hurricane inline-six motor, the 4 cylinders. That's all the talk of the future of the Mopar product. And yeah, they're going to do another run one more year, as far as I know, in the 392 Jeep, the Ram TRX, and the Durango. I'm pretty sure. So I think they're getting one more year. I could be wrong about that, but I know the Ram TRX is definitely going another year with the Hellcat motor. From that point on, the V8 is gone. Dodge is quitting making the V8 motor per se. But, that could all change. Who knows? What else could we look at in the car industry that the car industry is quitting? Well, as we all know, I have a channel called Ice Age TV because the goal by the green activists is for the consumers to eventually quit buying these ICE vehicles. I mean, that is the number one thing that these green agenda activists, they don't like the loud pipes. They don't like these gas burning vehicles. So the green agenda people are all on the page that you and I have to quit buying these gasoline propelled vehicles. And you have to get something else. So, that's another way of looking at the auto industry. Drinking my coffee. You can look at my bike. So I'm drinking my coffee here. So I bet that Honda CB1000R. Wow. I mean, that thing, it's just a really cool looking bike. It's a black edition. And there's a rear seat for it. My selling dealer reached out to me late yesterday and said, "Oh man, I watched your review of the CB1000R and I came to realize the rear seat is in my office. So when you're out here, pick it up." But also, he alerts me that the Honda Goldwing 2024, he's already got 2 coming in. I'm like, oh, here we go. So yeah, I've been preaching to my dealer that the new 2024 Honda Goldwing will probably come in before it usually does on a typical year. And like, nope. And I don't disagree. My first 2 Honda Goldwings, which none of them are out here. One's in the actual trailer out here. But every year, Honda typically releases the new model years in January. But apparently, they're going to release some 2024s to my selling dealer. Probably get them. I don't know if they'll get them this week with the holiday, but I bet you have by next week. And the new colors, which I'm going to be excited to go see the new colors, how the bike looks. And I've talked about it many times. Do I transition away from the Indian, the whole Indian, the whole Harley dominance? Am I going to quit being the V-twin air-cooled motorhead per se? Am I going to quit being the Indian owner? I don't know. I'm just kind of weighing my options. I just so much love this Triumph Rocket and how, to me, it's so refined. It's so nice. It's just such a different riding style. Is that luring me away where I literally quit riding these big bagger bikes? And in so many ways, I go to the Honda Goldwing, which I've had 2 of them. I've had 3 of them. For the record, I've now owned 3 Honda Goldwings since 2018. And do I transition to really more just to refine what I grew up on? The Yamahas. I grew up in the Yamahas. I was a Yamaha guy. I liked the Riceburgers. I've been a Honda guy for years. So do I transition away from the Harley and the Indian product? Because I just feel like that's more fun. The Honda Goldwing, I say all the time, Honda Goldwing truly ruins it for the others because it's such a nice, refined motorcycle. I think it's just a great bike. But here's the thing. The fun factor of these V-twins and these baggers and the exhaust note, you're not going to get that out of the Honda Goldwing. So that's where the challenge comes for me is, when you really want to kind of have that badass fun factor feeling, you're not going to get it out of that Honda Goldwing. You just don't get it. It's just too refined. It's a beautiful bike, comfortable bike, but it's a whole different animal. And in some ways, it's a little challenging sometimes, just the way that bike's front end is set up and the DCT. In some ways, it's a little challenging sometimes on how you navigate that bike, believe it or not. In some ways, I think the Indian and the Harley kind of are easier to navigate in some instances. That's kind of gets heavy and deep in all that explanation. There's the Lowrider ST over there. It's just really nice. Just got a good collection right now. So if the Honda Goldwing 2024 comes in, what am I giving up for that? Yeah, I'd like to give up the Honda Fury, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, what am I, the conversation of quitting, what's going on? I've talked about it numerous times. The CEO of Toyota was pretty much forced to quit. I've talked it in great length. Akoya Toyota, the grandson of the founder of Toyota, he was literally pushed out of his job because of the green activists wanted him to quit. And that's what you have to start to think about. What I'm talking about here is more the word yesterday, stolen, and today I'm using the word quitting. And I think that subliminally, I don't think people are connecting the dots in today's society that the social media machine and the green agenda and the governing bodies, they're in so many ways belittling you. You just don't realize this. And don't get me wrong, you probably do realize it. I'm not I'm not here to be the master Zion or whatever you want to call it. I'm not the master of the universe by any means. I'm just sharing views and ideas. I'm saying in so many ways it's a subliminal message to us on an ongoing basis to give up. To give up. And that's what's going on, I think, more than ever in society. People are quitting. So like the Toyota, the board, basically forced him to quit. Sure, the easy word is retirement, resign. I mean, there's different ways you can categorize it, but he admitted it that his type of look at life in the future of these cars and trucks and vehicles and transportation didn't agree with the younger generation in some ways and the green agenda. And he knew that. He knew that he just wasn't the guy. So he came to raise his hand and said, I'm quitting because I can't continue to try to navigate this company with so many people opposing me. Okay. And now he's raising his hand and going, hey, I told you so about this electric vehicle thing that isn't really happening like everybody thinks it should be. Now over here channel, you probably saw late yesterday, like early evening, that I posted a video of a black F450 dually. What is that all about? Right, I know. It just doesn't end. Doesn't end. By accident, yesterday morning, looking at the market of the F-150 Lightning truck, of how many things are in the market, and the Mach-E, that freaking black F450 truck, 2023, that just came in, used, populated, and yesterday, it's just Murphy's Law. I'm literally up in that area yesterday, most of the day, up north of Baltimore, and I'm literally now driving an F450 XLT 2023, and it's a really cool truck, like 700 miles on it. Some guy bought it. It was built in May of 2023. So somebody bought it, and somebody paid for it, and bought it off the street from the guy. And now here I am. Am I going to buy that? I don't know. Challenge is, what would I give up? What would I give up for that truck? And I already know if I took that white F450 truck over there and I traded for a black one, it just would make no sense. For most people, like, for what? It's a different colored truck. In so many ways, exactly. Why would you buy that? So does that deal really go down? Plus my kid, I just think my kid would be like, no way. That's her favorite truck. So if you watch my video, I've got mixed feelings on that. Then the F450 carbonized gray one, basically same color as this truck right here. Do I buy that? I don't think I will, because I've had 3 F450s. But my success with those trucks has been incredible. And what's incredible is how Ford quit making the F450 in any volumes this year of the regular, like, more dually bed style, not the chassis trucks, but for the F450 real nice trucks that I've owned, Ford has totally quit making those things. And because I ordered one back like last February, February, I think I ordered one last year at this time. I swear I did, to get the 2023 Ford F450. And it never has come in. I mean, so what's that all about? Well, it's about a shortage is it because people quit working? The supply chain issues? We know that story over and over again. I've been able to buy these F450s now since literally 2018. I can drive about a year. I can get rid of it. And they pretty much pay me what I paid for the truck. I'm not embellishing on that. In one instance, they paid me more than I paid for the truck, because there's such a high commodity in the market. So for me, all right, I could buy an F450, nice new one, and, drive it, have some fun with it, and then sell it. But the real deal is, I'd be really better off buying a 2024, because that has the new Power Stroke high output that I think goes from 1,050 torque I think it goes to 1200 torque, and I think it goes from 475 horsepower to like 500 horsepower. So the 2024 high output package, but the damn truck's going to be $110,000, $112,000, $120,000. There's no doubt in my mind. It's going to be through the roof. You know, when do the manufacturers quit marking up these vehicles? When does that stop? I mean, when does everything quit getting so expensive? I mean, it just gets heavy and deep when you start talking about the powers that be in our country that are literally just ramping everything up that's getting so expensive. I mean, everything. And I mean, I'll be the first to raise my hand. I'm not the guy here to say, oh yeah, mister, look at me. I'm the guy that's not buying stuff. Yeah, right. You know, look at these ATVs. How much do you think this ATV was? I mean, so many years ago, I can remember buying an ATV for $3,500, $4,000. What do you think that thing is today? You know, these are $10,000 machines because all the technology in them. Independent rear suspension, look at that. An automatic transmission. You know, then you got your lockers. I mean, this thing has a lot of cool features on it. I mean, this thing's a real backwood, take it on type of vehicle. You even have your manual shifter here for low gear, high gear. I mean, reverse. I mean, you can put racks on this thing. The daughter and I went on a 2019 fall down in Tennessee and did some backwooden riding with her Rancher and my Foreman Rubicon. I can tell you what, I was blown away. My kid outrode me. I was blown away. We went up some trails that were just horrendous, and my daughter didn't give up. She didn't get intimidated by these steep hills and ruts. Here I'm off the machine, having to walk next to it to get through some of the areas that the machine was just about to roll over on me. And my daughter, she just right by me like nothing. I'm like, wow. So I was just blown away how good my daughter did on that four-wheeler. And for her size at that time, you're now close to 4 years ago. Yeah, it was 4 years ago for the most part. For her size that time, to handle a big Honda Rancher, that's a big machine. So, oh my goodness gracious, the quitting. Yeah. So what am I going to quit? Am I going to quit buying something? Yeah, I need to. But I took a time out there for a while, but I've gotten back on the buying spree again. And how does that all play out, right? And right now, I don't know. I've got mixed feelings of what is the next ball game of what I'm going to do. And yeah, I don't know. So if those who are watching the channel kind of saw that video yesterday, I think that F450 black truck's really cool. Would I get it for myself? If I could get rid of the right vehicle, what vehicle would I give up though? And I've already got an idea. So if you're really watching my channel, if Ford approves the deal, so just a record, Ford approved the deal yesterday for me to give up my Raptor, my Ford Bronco. So the dealership yesterday was all about me giving up my Bronco Raptor, but I'm not really on that page, and this is so incredible. My sales guy got confused on what deal to run, so he runs the deal on me trading my Ford Bronco Raptor down there for that F450. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, man. But he just didn't listen, and he put a whole deal together, and Ford came back with a done deal. I'm like, I'm not letting go of that Raptor Bronco for that F450. Ain't going to happen. So what am I going to give up for the F450 two-door black? What would I give up? I mean, here I'm all my collection. I told him, take my Lightning truck. There's no way. That truck is worth 50, 55. That Mach-E's worth 40, 45. They don't want it. It's huge numbers. Huge numbers. You're talking $30,000 of difference in payoffs and compared to the value of the vehicle. Those two vehicles, those things are buried. I mean, I will not end up having all in those things. Those will probably be the longest owned vehicles I've ever owned in recent times because they're so upside down negative. I mean, it's beyond believable. But at the same time, I so think we're at war in this world. And if there's ever any major oil crisis, fuel crisis, those vehicles are going to go through the roof overnight. They're going to disappear, evaporate overnight. And then I've said it many times. Then do I let those go? I don't think I will because I rely on a vehicle to run my company. I have to be able to get around. So those things would be a savior for me. So yeah, we've had that conversation many times as well. All right, where the heck did I put my coffee? All the yabba dabba doing I do. And even for me, I get all turned around. You're probably like, yeah, you walk around that damn shop and you go, we're getting seasick because you're constantly, walking around and changing direction. And even for me right now, I'm totally lost where I put my freaking coffee as I'm distracted talking to everybody else here. It just doesn't end. I don't know. Oh, it's over here in the refrigerator when I was getting ready to walk into the office here. So let's get upstairs. It's cold. Actually, I'm chilly. And it's the time of year everybody's starting to get sick. And we know these stories. Right. So, all right, come on. Get up here, Pops. You waiting for Daddy? And Kiefer boys down there in Tennessee getting training, professional training. How about that? Is my dog going to come back and attack me? Or they got a picture of me of Kiefer attacking the boss? I don't know. Heat. We need heat. You have this heat on. If I leave it on this office, my electric bill here is huge. I'm not lying. My electric bill here is $500 a month to $800 a month. If you think I'm making that up, I'm not. I mean, I'm not lying about that. Yeah, you hear me? I just paid a $850 electric bill for my property. Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So the quitting. Well, what did I say earlier? Did I even say it? Quitters ever win. Winners ever quit. We've heard that saying forever, right? Gotta get my heat on because it's cold. Gotta get the morning going. So if you're really staying abreast of all the world events, I'm sure you know about the OpenAI, Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, Microsoft. It's very interesting. I think it's kind of interesting that I came up with this idea of quitting yesterday, and then I read in great length about how the OpenAI has created their own little quitting problems because they let, if you're watching this stuff, you're not, I'll just kind of rehash it, but OpenAI, Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, two key, members of the company, run the company, founders of the company, they were dismissed by the board for just different views and whatever, okay? So they left, and then yesterday they've announced they're with Microsoft. But even though Microsoft, for the most part, Microsoft owns OpenAI. I mean, that's the irony here is they have so much money invested in that company. Bill Gates, I mean, they've put like $500 million or $900 million in that operation. So the employees, 513 or 14 employees, have sent a letter of resignation to the sitting board members of OpenAI that they have to remove the board members of key individuals, and they're all going to quit. Yeah, they're all going to quit, and they're going to go over to Microsoft. I mean, so these board members that got all riled up with Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, that like, I'll show you, buddy boy, and basically in so many ways fired them, I guess. Or did Greg and Sam say we're quitting, however the dialect went, whatever it is. But now here's most of the employees that work for, I would have to say all of them. I have no idea how many employees there are, but 500 plus. It's a written, open, public letter of the unhappiness of these employees that these board members never provided any clear detail of why they let go of Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. So it's total disarray of what's going on there at OpenAI. And what was the driving thing? Quitting. And I think, wow, that the word quitting is such a powerful word because who in their life hasn't quit something? I mean, sincerely, who here hasn't quit a job? Who hasn't here quit a task? I mean, that's the challenge for all of us is because, when you quit in so many aspects, you can look at it where you failed, but in other aspects, you quit because you feel like the environment that you're in or whatever happened wasn't right, and you end up quitting because you feel like the end result will be a better end result than what's going to be the end result of you not quitting. And for me, I've had that happen, and I'm sure everybody else here has happened. I had it happen in football when I first started playing football in high school, where I tore my knee out just at the beginning of the season in practice. And it's freshman year, I decided to quit playing football. And that was a huge challenge because it was such peer pressure of being in the first year in freshman high school. And so many people made fun of me that I was a quitter, okay, that I gave up. And they're just not understanding that I totally destroyed my knee. And I would probably sit out a good portion of the season just recovering. And I just felt like, well, for what? It's not worth it. I'm too young, and this isn't. So I didn't. But others, literally, had intimidated me, and were very, it was very bad. I mean, I got really beat up in so many ways in high school. My first year of getting to high school was very challenging for me, and even the point that I quit going to high school just for a little short time because I had so many people harassing me at school for quitting playing football. And everybody knows it's been high school. It's very challenging. The peer pressures and the people. And it was classic. I'll never forget me walking through the halls where we have all our lockers in this designated area. And I'm laughing with my friend about how somebody's locker got broken into and all their books and everything was laying everywhere. And so as we're walking along, we're both laughing. And it's just like out of the movies. I look down, and my name is on all these pieces of paper and books. My friend starts laughing like you can't believe, because it's me. I'm the guy that somebody went vandalized my locker. Yeah, how do you think I felt, at that point? So, I mean, I got so bad of me being harassed at school, and for my parents, it was a time of life where you just don't want to talk about this. I didn't want to talk about it. So I got to the point where I wouldn't go to school. I wouldn't want to go to high school. And my father just really got into me. I mean, it became physical. It became more physical than my dad's ever been in my whole life. But it was a hard lesson that you got to go to school. And so I did. I mean, I ended up, did I miss a day of school? Yeah. Or two, maybe. But my father was just adamant. So I went back to school. So it was very challenging. As you know, and I'm sure so many other people here that watch my channel can have these stories of you quit something and then people look at you differently because of you quitting, not understanding that really there's more to it, more in depth to that. And I can remember quitting a very good job that I had, that I worked for a company for 8+ years, but I quit because I just wasn't being respected, and I just felt it was time to move on. And so for us, I was just talking about earlier, is right now in today's society, it just seems like, are we witnessing the biggest movement of quitters in modern times? And we all know that during the pandemic, a lot of people quit their jobs. I mean, I know of personal people that had to deal with a lot of retail, a lot of face-to-face, car salespeople, Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever it may be, Costco. A lot of people, they quit working, especially some like older people, because they were so concerned for their well-being. This virus that was going around, that they didn't want to die from it. So a lot of people quit. I mean, I'm sure people understand and know that big time. We hear the stories of so many people that quit their jobs because they were forced to go back to work after remotely working. And then you hear the stories all the time of people that threaten to quit their jobs if the employer is going to enforce them to have to come back and work in the office. And so quitting, we heard that. You heard after the 2020 election. I heard so many people like, I'm going to quit voting. I'm so frustrated with this voting system that they felt it wasn't transparent and honest and all that other stuff. And so many people feel like it's a waste of time to go vote. And their attitude is, I'm going to quit voting. It's not worth it. As I was saying earlier, the green agenda activists are at the highest, the social media machine, the ESG. There's so many things today, more than ever, I feel, that's going on around us to pressure you to quit. I mean, sincerely, it's an underlying message. You just quit. And so you look at the food prices. Don't you think there's an underlying message that the Green Agenda would love to see people quit eating? I mean, and don't get me wrong, I don't disagree that our country has an obese problem like never seen ever in modern times. It's a huge problem. So in some ways, I don't disagree that people need to quit eating so much food. But at the same time, you have to say to yourself, the underlying message is everything's gotten so expensive in so many ways. It's made you change how you eat. You may not eat as much red meat you used to. You may eat more pork and chicken. Is it better for you? Maybe. But the whole point is, it's the underlying message that's being conveyed to you as an individual. You need to quit the way you're living. Just as I talked about these vehicles, the Green Agenda wants you to ride a bicycle or walk to work. The Green Agenda would rather see everybody sit at home and remotely work. Granted, generally, I'd rather see one Amazon van go and make all the deliveries to all these different houses to keep 50 cars or 100 cars off the road from doing the same thing, driving the store. I mean, it's a whole revamp of who we are. And underlying message is, in so many ways, is they want you to quit your lifestyle. Um, if you look at the if you look at how people go out and shop anymore, I mean, in some ways, have people quit shopping in some ways from the, I mean, look at the holidays. What would be the internet the cyber sales, the Black Friday? I mean, it's just incredible how when I was a young kid during the holiday season, it was like the worst. You went to Macy's or the mall, you didn't even want to go. You wanted to quit shopping because it just wore you out because you get in the parking lot. Do you remember these days? I mean, it still goes on in parts of the country and certain sectors. People are still going out. But I mean, oh my gosh, I remember fighting to find a spot for a parking spot, then having to walk in the mall, and you're standing in line with everybody else, getting your last minute Christmas gifts. Yeah, and were you going broke to try to keep everybody happy in so many ways? Yeah, who doesn't know these stories, right? Yeah, who's probably like, yeah, what do you mean? Those stories. The stories continue on. I've got family and friends. And yeah, it isn't cheap. In some ways, you don't have to buy people presents, but then at the same time, you don't buy them. Then does a family look at you like, oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah, just like forget your wife's birthday, forget your anniversary. Oh yeah, it'll be great, man. It's not gonna be a big deal. So are people quitting buying cars? I think they are, but are they? It's so you see so many YouTube channel videos over and over again every day of the dire straits of all the car dealerships, the housing market, and the list goes on and on and on. And are people quitting buying cars? Well, they say they are because they say the interest rates are too high. Are people quitting buying houses? They say they actually are. Saying, I mean, there are some deep and heavy videos out there that are saying that the housing market is getting ready just to implode like never ever seen. That all these people that are out of money, everybody's out of the free money. But here's something that's really interesting that I read about this morning. Is this constant get rid of the diesel trucks? California Air Resources Bureau, it's known as CARB. So apparently for 2024, even for me, I really had to read this over and over again. So in California, their total goal is by 2035 is for no new, remember, listen to this word, new, no new diesel truck sales. Didn't say you couldn't buy a used diesel truck, but no new diesel truck sales in California. And other states and countries are going that way. But here's the thing. The seaport in California, in LA, whatever, San Diego, whatever the major seaports are, the terminals where all the shipping comes into California, Southern California, they're getting very strict on these trucks that make the deliveries. They're short truck deliveries that are moving the containers, and it's more a local type of trucking business. But it's a huge industry in California of all these ships, containers, and these things come off, and trucks got to take them places and get to supply centers and distribution. The list goes on and on and on. But the new 2024 CARB rule requires anybody that wants to register to be compliant to be able to bring your vehicle to that. You be able to be a trucking company and be able to bring your vehicle into the port authorities of these different ports. You have to be zero emissions on your vehicle. So just remember, I just said, if you just went out and bought a new vehicle and you now want to register it in 2024 to be a cargo truck, it has to be zero emission. Now, if you're an existing company that already has existing diesel trucks, gas trucks, whatever it may be, you're not going to be per se affected. But as time pursues, and if you have to update your trucks and buy a new truck, if it's not an electric vehicle, hydrogen, whatever it may be, you're not allowed in that port to drive the vehicle. So the goal is for the Port Authority to really start the big hammer down on all these big companies out there and small converting to the zero emissions vehicles, which is the electric trucks. And so there's a lot of people saying, man, this is going to overnight really start to drive the prices of this shipping, especially in the California area. And it'll have impacts on us as well, too, because you have a lot of products that come from California, from the West Coast. And the infrastructure is going to be a major undertaking and very expensive. And then you have the so-called president of the trucking industry. He claims that if you have a population of 150,000 people of a small town, and you have to re-energize 30 of these commercial-style big rig mega battery packs, the town wouldn't have any energy. This is his claim. He says that if you were to plug in 30 of these trucks, and your average, he was using one of the towns that he knows of, in a terminal, if 30 of these trucks plugged in, the lights would turn off in the whole city. It wouldn't be able to handle it. Another individual claims that the Levi Stadium, or whatever, that requires 300 to 350, 350,000 kilowatts of energy, or whatever it is. He claims this one stadium, okay, for one truck to recharge itself with these mega battery packs, it's the equivalent of 30 of those stadiums. Wow. So the trucking industry, what they're saying is what California, it'll be the first, the CARB, California Air Resource Bureau, was the first one to become very aggressive in this zero emissions trucking industry. And the trucking industry is saying this is going to become so expensive for the trucking industry to be able to survive because the infrastructure of these trucks being recharged is going to be a major undertaking. So what they say is a trucker can go roughly 1,000 miles off of like a 15-minute fuel stop to refill his fuel tanks. In comparison, an electric truck is going to probably go like 150, 200 miles. You can even say, for the heck of it, it goes 200 miles. All right. So they're saying, so now that truck to go the same distance will require 5 stops to recharge the truck. But it'll be more than that because the charging infrastructure isn't every 5 miles. So it'll probably be 6 or 8 charges to be able to manage. It's like a trucker is going to run his truck down to the last mile of fuel before he gets to the stop. I mean, it's just stupid how they think this stuff through. The whole point is they're saying for a trucker that can go 1,000 miles within 2 days, now that same trucker, it's going to probably take him more like 3 or 4 days. Because you have hours. You remember, truckers are mandated by CDL. The government, the DOT, is all over how many hours as a trucker you can be on the road and be on the job. You can only work so many hours and you have to take time off for the safety and well-being of the driver, not falling asleep behind the wheel of a truck and the truck crashing. Some people are like, well, they make electric trucks. That'll be driverless trucks. Yeah, keep on dreaming, man. Just keep on dreaming. Keep on drinking the Kool-Aid. Just keep on drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, that's all you're doing for these green agenda activists. It's beyond believable. So they're saying, okay, so now for a trucking company, for them to be able to afford a guy in so many ways, 5 times the wages for the same guy that can do it in an ICE vehicle or a diesel truck. But then they bring up another good point, and that is that the weight of these electric battery packs for these trucks is going to take away the capacity for the truck to haul as much material. So there's a whole other variable. It could maybe take 2 trucks to carry what 1 truck could carry. It gets deep and heavy. But here's the thing. It's the whole message of quitting. The quitting aspect is the CARB of California. They want you to quit driving a diesel truck. They want you to totally go to this electric vehicle infrastructure. Even the Port Authority and even the Trucking Association, California is saying, right now there's not even enough infrastructure to even recharge these trucks at nighttime. And California is saying, well, over the next 2-3 years, so they've implemented a law that's starting January 1st of 2024. And what they're saying out there is just this year alone, there'll be 2,200 new vehicle purchases on average. The life of these trucks have a life expectancy of anywhere from 11 to 13 years, but there's so many of them, and they're all cycling through their years of being used, that there's going to be probably close to 2,200 new 2,200 new purchases between all these big and small companies and they're going to have to then be zero compliance, or they're not going to be able to compete anymore of getting the shipping capability from these ports. They're not going to be they're not going to be able to use these trucks. Or if they have a fleet of trucks, they'll be okay because they can use their existing trucks. But the point is that what they're saying is this is going to create potentially a huge quitting of many businesses that can't afford the infrastructure, because they're saying that the average cost of these new trucks is $350,000 to $450,000. So it's like double, in some ways, close to triple price for a small business to be able to buy these trucks and then be able to afford to pay for them through the existing, freight rates and hourly wages. So it's just a total, it's just beyond believable. But once again, it's the green agenda activists that are putting on everybody else at this point in our country, the world, that you need to quit the way you think. I mean, sincerely, what they're wanting you to do is really tell you, quit the way you think. And listen to me, and that's the way it's going to be. I mean, that's really where we are. I mean, it's beyond believable. Have you seen the Argentina new president that's come in and overtaken in so many ways the socialist country that they claim has just been driven into the ground? Yeah, this guy here, but already in our own country, there's so many people calling this guy out, and they're dissing him. And that's what's going on right now that I'm starting to see more than ever on X, is so many people want you to quit thinking the way you think. And they're so ramming down everybody's throat on how wrong you are if you think differently from the way they think. It's really bad. I mean, it's very, very bad. It creates, it's incredible I already said it, 2024, what is going to be the play in 2024. And it's already starting to play out. I mean, it's so incredible. Already, if you just really open your eyes and you start looking at what's going on social media, and you'll see the underlying message. It is so wanting so many people just to quit in their views of life and what they feel is right versus wrong, and they know what is right versus wrong, and they just want you to quit. They want you to give up. And that's what I think that the stolen conversation is such the good starting point on the Monday morning conversation to today's conversation of quitting. Why are people stealing things like never seen before in modern times? Because they've quit. The underlying message to them is just quit. And you can just steal from others to get through this physical world. I mean, look at the inner cities. How many of the inner cities educational system? Well, what is the average number of high school dropouts that just give up and quit? I mean, Baltimore City here got hammered years ago, being caught with falsifying the amount of students that show up to class every day that actually had quit going to high school. And the reason they got hammered is because the state of Maryland governs how they disperse monies to every school based on how many teachers they need, based on how many pupils show up. And in Baltimore City was fudging all the numbers so everybody could keep their jobs. So they didn't have to quit. So they didn't share how many students had really quit going to school, because they knew as a teacher, if they ever found out, they'd have to quit their job because they wouldn't have the resources to pay them. It's bad. It really is. But the media machine's going to continue to have the underlying message to you that in so many ways, your stolen rights, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? You want to, fight for that? No, just quit. Just quit. And that's why I like Ice Age TV, because I think that more and more people are really starting to get the message that this internal combustion engine age, that's a livelihood of who we are. And this EV age is not. It's not. But the EV age wants you to quit thinking that you're right and how wrong they are, which they are. So anyways, leave it at that. Another day, rainy day. And what plays out today? I don't know. It's always an adventure, right? Yeah. When are you going to quit buying things? Yeah. Have I heard that before in my life? Yeah. Yeah. Am I a married man? Yes. Yeah. So anyways, hope everybody has a great day. Rainy, chilly, cool. And for all those who are traveling, I sure hope you have a safe travel. And one of my subscribers yesterday reached out, Metallica. You're listening this morning. Hey, I think you had a really good point about this Sam Altman, Greg Brockman, Microsoft, OpenAI, and I don't disagree. It's like at the end of the day, Microsoft's just going to take over at OpenAI. I mean, think it through. If Sam Altman and Greg Brockman are over the side of the equation, all the people come with them. At the end of the day, OpenAI is just going to be overrun by Microsoft. So, hey, good point. I like your ideas and views. And thanks for sharing and watching. So, everybody have a great day. Stay safe. God bless. And stay tuned for a black F-450 truck.